Discover the incredible moment a billionaire found a little girl's empty lunchbox. It revealed a heartbreak he never expected. Sam Weston had it all. Thousands of square feet of luxury penthouse. Gleaming Ferraris lined up like trophies, and parties that sparkled with the laughter of the city's elite. Yet, within this dazzling facade, a gnawing emptiness took root in his chest, echoing loudly at odd hours. Every Wednesday, he hoped to fill that void with laughter and love, as he volunteered at the local community center in a neighborhood that the world gleefully ignored. It was a space where joy blossomed amidst struggle, a place he remembered fondly from his childhood summers. One fateful afternoon, while flowered chaos swirled around him, Sam stumbled upon a bright, pink lunchbox hidden in the cramped kitchen. It was dented and adorned with fading stickers of cartoon characters, its emptiness stark against the vibrant clutter. There was something profoundly tragic about it. He learned that this belonged to a spirited little girl named Maria, who hadn't been around school lately. Her family was on the brink of financial disaster. Memories of his mother working 2 jobs cast shadows over his mind. The homemade lunches and joyous dinners felt so distant now, eclipsed by his relentless pursuit of success. As days turned to weeks, the awareness of Maria's absence haunted him. He connected her struggle to a broader narrative of inequality that wrapped tightly around the community. Overwhelmed with guilt, he leapt into action, thinking cash could implement change. But when he presented donations, it was met with cold skepticism. "This isn't just about money," a local leader said, eyes narrowing. "It's about understanding. You don't get it, do you?" Each of their words stung, tearing at his privilege with raw honesty. Feeling the community's anger and pain, he knew he had to do more. He learned that the center's funding was at risk, threatening not just Maria's education, but the very fabric of their lives. In a moment of awakening, he invited the neighborhood to gather. It was a flicker of shared determination that ignited within him as he began to understand the power of collective action. Fear turned to purpose as they rallied, unearthing strengths he never knew existed. As neighbors shared their struggles, their laughter and tears intertwined with stories of resilience, Sam's heart swelled with a newfound connection. Maria's name echoed through the room like a mantra of hope. He never thought he could feel so connected to a community that seemed foreign at first. But it was becoming home. Just as he began to see a path forward, Maria appeared bright-eyed and radiant at the center's crucial fundraiser, sending gasps through the crowd. Her presence revved energy like a spark igniting a wildfire. But the question loomed larger in his mind. Could wealth genuinely enact change, or just provide a momentary fix? As Sam locked eyes with Maria, he felt his heart ache with anticipation, ready for whatever came next. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. His mind raced. He promised himself this was just the beginning. Was it possible to foster real change? Could he step out from his gilded cage and truly connect? The stakes were rising, and the community's fate hung in the balance. Sam took a deep breath, resolve hardening within him. The journey to find the answer was just beginning. The sound of laughter echoed off the walls of the community center, reverberating like music all around Sam. It filled the air, making him feel buoyant. But it was Maria's bright smile that anchored him. She was surrounded by other children, their hope twinkling in the eyes that reflected her own. The amount of joy radiating from her was powerful. It was like she was a beacon, cutting through the dense fog of uncertainty that had filled his heart since he had first discovered that lunchbox. But the worries lingered, threading their way back into his mind. He shifted his attention to the banners that dangled from the ceiling, displaying hand-painted messages from the children. "Together we rise," one declared, a statement that felt both daunting and empowering. Sam's heart raced as he realized how deeply invested he was becoming in this community. It wasn't just about saving Maria. It was about saving them all. Around him, people moved about, mingling and chatting as if the world outside didn't exist. The energy was contagious, a reminder of resilience and spirit he hadn't felt in years. Yet, he couldn't shake off a deeper worry: would the community trust him enough? After all, he was still an outsider. He had arrived with his luxury cars and designer suits. But today he stood here, stripped of armor, hoping to make a difference. As the festivities danced on, Sam joined Maria and the other children in a game of catch. The laughter around him felt like pure, unfiltered joy, each giggle lighting up bits of his soul that he thought had gone dark. Catching Maria's smile made him feel like he was finally on a path toward genuine connection. He wanted to know her story, to understand her struggles. But his heart quaked with the realization that he hadn't yet built the trust needed for that. Then, as the sun dipped low and painted everything in gold, Maria pulled him aside. "Mr. Sam," she said, eyes wide with innocence, "can I tell you a secret?" His chest tightened in anticipation. "Of course, Maria. What is it?" He knelt down to her level, a habit he had learned from watching how the children reacted better when he was eye to eye with them. Her voice was soft, tremulous. "Sometimes I feel like I don't belong. Like, I hope for things, but they're too big for me to hold," she confessed, her small hands fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. Sam felt his heart crumple. How could such a little girl feel so burdened? He wanted to reach out, to assure her that hope was never too big, that every dream, no matter how great, was worth pursuing. Yet he hesitated. Could he even promise her that while grappling with his own uncertainties? But Maria looked up at him with the unyielding innocence of youth, and he could clearly see that she needed to believe. "Maria," he started, thinking carefully, "dreams are meant to be chased, and I want to help you chase yours. No one should feel like they don't belong." The small smile that broke on her face ignited something inside him. Perhaps this was what he needed to do: not just be a benefactor, but a partner in dreams, a fellow dreamer. Just as Sam felt a surge of hope, he noticed one of the center's leaders observing from across the room, arms crossed, skepticism still painted on their face. The unspoken tension settled uncomfortably in the air. The leader's eyes expressed doubt. Could he gain her trust, too, and ignite a movement that would embody the dream he wished to share with Maria? The stakes shifted again, and Sam felt a fire building within him. This was more than about Maria. It was about a promise to the community, a pledge for lasting change. As the gathering continued to sparkle with excitement, he caught Maria's gaze again, full of trust and belief. The moment felt loaded with potential, and he realized it was not just about him anymore. The question loomed larger than ever. How would he take this momentum and make sure it transformed into something real? The weight of expectation pressed on him, and just when he felt ready to step into the unknown, the night took an unexpected turn, challenging everything he believed in. Sam stood there, the vibrant noise of laughter and chatter swirling around him like a gentle storm. He was already faltering under the weight of expectations, but now a new wave of uncertainty crashed over him. "Hey, you!" That voice shattered his thoughts like glass. The center's leader, a stern woman with sharp features and an equally sharp gaze, was striding toward him. He felt a jolt of apprehension. Yes?" Sam replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "What are you doing here?" she asked, not bothering to mask her skepticism. He started, but she cut him off, raising an eyebrow. "Well, taking pictures with these kids isn't enough. We've been running a tight ship here, making sure each of them has what they need to thrive. I recognize you as the guy with expensive cars and flashy suits. What are you really offering?" She leaned in, her arms crossed more defiantly now. Her words hit him hard, but they also sparked something deep in his chest. He blinked away his surprise and took a breath. "I want to help. This place means a lot to me, and I want to work with you and the community to create real change." She studied him for a moment, her expression unreadable. He could almost see her calculating, weighing each word that hung between them. Finally, she said, "Words are cheap. Are you ready to put in effort to show them what you really mean?" The challenge was clear. Sam felt a renewed sense of purpose welling up inside him. "Absolutely. I've got resources, but more importantly, I want to be here to learn what they need and how I can support their dreams. The woman's eyes narrowed slightly, but there was a flicker of interest. You're saying all the right things. But this community has been let down many times before. You better not be another empty promise. I promise, he began, finding himself filled with unexpected conviction. I will dedicate myself to making a positive impact, whatever it takes. As she stepped back, Sam could see her relax, if only a little. There was still skepticism in her stance, but at least she hadn't dismissed him outright. All right then, let me see you involved. Good intentions aren't enough. We need action, she replied, turning to walk away. If I see genuine commitment in the weeks to come, we'll talk. Sam let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Determination surged within him. He had to get it right, not just for Maria, not just for this community, but for himself. He looked around, taking in the vibrant atmosphere again. The children were still giggling, their laughter showcasing a joy that seemed almost otherworldly. Hey, Sam called, his voice cutting through the joyful chaos. Who wants to help me plan something big? He felt the shift in the air as the children turned, eyes brightening at the prospect of involvement. Maria's hand shot up first, a spark of excitement that reminded him what he was fighting for. But just as he began to outline his thoughts for a community outreach program, his phone buzzed violently in his pocket. Digging it out, he glanced at the screen and felt his heart plummet. It was the lawyer. He swiped to answer, and a knot of anxiety coiled in his stomach. Hello? Sam, we need to talk. There is something important I need to address right away, came the reply, her voice unexpectedly grave. What is it? I'm busy right now, he replied, but panic was already creeping in. I can't discuss it over the phone. Can you meet me in person? He glanced at Maria, her face glowing with excitement, the children around him buzzing with energy. Everything was building up to something meaningful. Yeah, but can it wait? He stammered, torn between his growing commitment and the intrusive, unwelcome call. Her voice softened. This really can't wait, Sam. Trust me on this. He felt the disappointment wash over him as he watched the kids' eager faces. He could feel the tide of hope he had started to create beginning to slip through his fingers. All right, he finally sighed, heart heavy. I'll be there. As Sam stepped away from the gathering, he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever awaited him in that office could change everything he was starting to build here. In that moment he realized the journey was just beginning. But what if this meeting revealed something that could put it all at risk? The walk to the lawyer's office felt endless. Each footstep echoed like a countdown in his mind. Sam's heart raced, a mixture of anticipation and dread battling for control. What pressing news could possibly wait no longer? Streetlights flickered overhead as he navigated familiar streets, recalling the neglected promises of his past. He had sworn to do better, to make a real difference. The laughter and energy of the children he had just left seemed to be fading with every step he took away from them. What if this news knocked him off track completely? Finally, he arrived at the sleek office building, a glimpse of glass and chrome that stood stark against the otherwise warm, inviting neighborhood. Inside was a contrast in itself. Pristine walls, muted tones, the faint scent of coffee. It felt cold, like the atmosphere had sucked all the vibrancy from the air. Sam pushed through the glass door and headed for her office. The receptionist offered a polite smile but quickly turned back to her computer screen. He found himself pacing, his mind racing. Was this meeting about his finances, legal troubles, or something related to his burgeoning involvement with the community? The door creaked open, and she motioned him inside. Thanks for coming, Sam, she said, her expression serious. What's going on? He asked, urgency creeping into his tone. She gestured for him to sit. I have some concerns about your recent business decisions. Your investments haven't been producing as expected. Sam swallowed hard, frustration bubbling beneath his calm surface. I didn't come here to talk about that. I want to focus on helping the community. I'm really committed this time. I understand that, she replied, leaning toward him, her voice low. But there's more at stake than just your heart. I'm worried you might risk everything you've built already. Money isn't everything, Sam, but it buys time to change lives. His pulse quickened at her choice of words. What do you mean? What's at risk? There's already a chance your major investor is pulling out, she said. If that happens, you won't just lose funding for your projects, you could lose your entire foundation. I suggest you pay attention to your business affairs now before you're left scrambling. For a moment, everything in Sam's world dimmed. The laughter, the children's bright eyes, and Maria's inspiring spirit all began to fade into a blur of noise. He had risked so much to help others, yet the very foundation of his mission was in jeopardy. Can't we salvage it? Can't I find someone else? He pleaded, panic clawing at his chest. She sighed, her gaze softening. That's what I wanted to discuss. I might have a potential backer, but it hinges on a pitch. You need to persuade them this isn't just a whim. You need to be convincing. The knot in his stomach twisted tighter. He was suddenly and acutely aware of just how naive he had been, throwing himself so wholeheartedly into this without considering the stakes. I don't know how to pitch to investors anymore. I'm not that guy, I'm a community guy now. Then you need to tap into that passion, Sam. Her tone held a rare warmth. Show them what motivates you. The good you want to do, it needs to shine through. He exhaled slowly, the weight of the moment crashing down around him. He could regain control. But at what cost? He was back at the starting line again, clenched hands digging into his knees as realization set in. I got to get back, he muttered, breaking eye contact. She nodded, expecting his urgency. Just think about what I said. You'll need to act fast. As he walked out, he felt the gravity of his decision pressing down like a heavy cloak. He had to find a way to balance his vision for the community with the harsh realities of business. But could he? With the sounds of bustling life surrounding him, he couldn't shake the fire of determination that ignited within. Just as he was about to leave, a thought rushed in, a nagging suspicion that things were about to get much more complicated than he had ever anticipated. What were the lengths he would go to save not just his mission, but everything he had begun to hold dear? Sam stumbled out of the office, his mind racing. The sharp air stung his lungs as he stepped back into the street, bright lights all around him. He felt suddenly detached from the rhythm of life he once knew, where laughter and hope were his driving forces. Now, reality bore down like a heavy fog, relentless and cold. He sighed, forcing himself to move. His feet carried him back through the familiar streets, but each block felt foreign. Every corner he turned, every step he took, the weight of potential loss loomed larger. The bit of paper, her voice ringing in his ears. You need to be convincing. How could he turn the passion that pulsed through him like a heartbeat into cold, hard reasoning? It felt impossible. As he made his way back toward the community center, he forced himself to remember that day in the park when he first discovered his calling. The children had played around him, bright-eyed with possibility. They had approached him, their little faces smeared with ice cream and dirt, all longing for attention. He had felt something stir within him that day, a connection, a feeling of purpose that transcended dollars and cents. Focus, Sam, he muttered to himself as he neared the center. He couldn't let despair win this time. Time was short, and he needed to find that potential backer. He could almost see the children filling the center with their laughter, their eager faces reminding him why he had to fight, why he had to pitch not as a businessman, but as someone driven by community and heart. Stepping through the doors of the center, the warmth enveloped him. The crayons scattered on the tables, the noise of laughter, the thrill of carefree childhood dreams swirling in the air. It was intoxicating. He suddenly felt heavy with responsibility, a question lodged deep in his gut. How could he convey this to an investor? How could he explain the power of hope that flourished in this space? It was about so much more than just money. Before he could trip over self-doubt, Maria appeared, her fiery spirit lighting up the room. Sam, you made it back, she exclaimed, her smile brightening his mood. Yeah. Just had a meeting. Potential trouble, he replied, the seriousness of it all creeping back into his voice. What kind of trouble? She asked, concern etching her features. Investor might pull out. If they do, everything I've built could collapse. He confessed, looking away as if admitting it would somehow lessen its weight. Maria's expression hardened. But you can't let that happen. We have kids counting on us. I know. That's why I need to convince them. I need to share what's here, the energy, the hope, he replied, gesturing around the room, feeling a surge of adrenaline. But how? I don't even know where to start. Start by being you, Maria urged, her voice steady. Show them who you are and why this matters. Don't just talk about returns, talk about lives being changed, families being supported. That's real. That's where the heart is. He looked at her, and for the first time that day, a glimmer of hope flickered inside him. Perhaps she was right. The emotion he felt could be used to sway even the hardest of hearts. He could share the laughter bursting from the walls, the joy in those children's eyes as they played and learned. I need to brainstorm, he said suddenly, urgency flooding back. Let me sketch out what to say. The right words, I just need to focus. Okay, I'll help you, Maria grinned. Let us do this together. As they gathered around a table piled with crayons and papers, Sam's heart swelled with gratitude. They began to weave ideas, stories, and the soul of the community into a pitch. Ideas flowed, the night grew older, and outside the darkness fell, but inside, the energy pulsed with possibility. Just as an image of the transformation unfolded in Sam's mind, a sudden noise cut through the moment, a loud crash from the entrance. They both turned, hearts racing. Did you hear that? Maria whispered, anxiety creeping into her voice. What now? Sam frowned, too wrapped up in their hopeful conversation to grasp the situation. Let us check, she said, moving toward the door where shadows shifted ominously. Sam followed, his heart now pounding for a different reason. Was this just another hurdle, or something much more serious? The night had just taken a turn, and the true test of his resolve loomed closer than he ever imagined. As Sam and Maria crept toward the door, the chaos of their brainstorming session faded into the background. The warm hum of laughter and scattered crayons felt worlds away. The crash had been sharp, jarring, something that didn't belong in this haven of hope. Sam's thoughts raced. What if it was an accident? What if they were about to face something worse? Maria's hand tightened around the doorknob, and Sam felt a surge of protective instinct. Wait, he whispered, hoping to still her nerves. Let us be careful. With a quick glance at each other, they both pushed the door open just enough to peek outside. The dim light cast eerie shadows over the entrance. The center had been quiet for only a moment, but now there were muffled voices, maybe a couple of figures in the darkness. Hey, who's there? Sam called, trying to sound braver than he felt. One silhouette flinched at the sound, then another stepped into the faint light. Sam's heart dropped as recognition hit him almost immediately. It was Jace, one of the older kids known for his rebellious spirit and knack for finding trouble. He stood breathing heavily, his backpack barely hanging on his shoulder. Next to him was Elijah, a younger boy who looked frightened, clutching a well-loved plush. Guys, what are you doing here? Maria rushed out, her voice more anxious than angry. We were just playing a game, Jace stammered, glancing back nervously, as if he expected something or someone to come after him. Playing a game? Sam echoed, skepticism rising. At this hour? You scared us half to death. We heard a noise and we thought it was uncool. Jace defended himself, nervously rubbing the back of his neck. It was an accident. The door fell or something. Sam's frustration began to dissolve under the youth's innocent mirth. He sighed and ran a hand across his face. Just promise us you'll be careful. We're trying to keep this place running for you all. He exhaled, glancing back into the vibrant mess of crayons and laughter that was their sanctuary. Yeah, we promise. Elijah piped up, his big eyes still wide with excitement. Now come on, you two, Maria said, her tone softening as she stepped out into the cold air. Why don't you help us with something really important? We need ideas to make sure this community center stays open. Elijah instantly perked up. You mean we can help? Like with the pitch? Yes. Sam smiled, lifting the anxious weight off his shoulders just a little. The pitch has to show why this place matters to everyone, including you. Okay. Jace exclaimed, suddenly more enthusiastic. I can tell you about when I first came here. I was lost, he admitted, his bravado fading. The admission struck a chord in Sam. He had seen so many kids transform in this space, but hearing it from Jace made it real. As they drew the kids into their plans, the initial fear washed away, replaced by hope. Sam reminded himself that this was why he fought, because kids like Jace deserved a place to grow, to learn, to play without fear hanging overhead. Just as they set to work, a shadow flickered past the door behind them. Sam turned around, unease settling over him once more. Felt different this time, darker. Did you see that? He whispered, the adrenaline creeping back in. What? Maria asked, turning to look, but whatever had been there was already gone. Nothing. Sam shook his head, still feeling an overwhelming sense of foreboding that lingered in the air. Let us focus on what we can control. Suddenly, the warm light of hope he felt could be extinguished. As laughter filled the room again, Sam couldn't shake the unsettling thought the night was full of surprises, and not all of them were good. But with the gravity of the moment, he had to ask himself, could his pitch stand against whatever was lurking outside? Maybe he would soon learn what true resilience meant. Was he ready for whatever awaited him beyond these walls? The tension thickened in the air as Sam tried to shake off the uneasy feeling that clung to him. His focus shifted back to Jace and Elijah, who seemed lost in their excitement. The laughter that had surged moments before now felt fragile, as if it could burst like a bubble at the slightest provocation. All right, let us brainstorm, Sam said, forcing a smile. What's the first thing we should tell about this place? Elijah blurted out, the art classes. I love painting with Miss Carla. Good, that's a start, Maria chimed in encouragingly. Jace, what about you? Jace looked down, the bravado slipping away. I kinda like the games we play when everyone's here. Sometimes it feels like home. That one word set off a flicker in Sam's chest. Home, what a heavy thing to carry in a community that often felt like it was teetering. Without a second thought, he grabbed a stack of colorful construction paper and spread it across the table. Then let us make a collage pictures of all the things that matter here. It's not just about the pitch. It's about what this place means to everyone. The kids nodded, and soon the sounds of scribbling crayon against paper filled the room. Sam couldn't help but smile as he watched them. Their innocent joy was contagious. Maria leaned closer, her shoulder brushing against his as they both observed Elijah begin to draw a big sun, while Jace sketched a messy outline of the center. Suddenly, the crash from before echoed in his mind. He couldn't push it away. Hey, can you two stay focused for a second? I'll be right back. What? Maria asked, surprise dancing in her tone. I just need to check the back. I'll be quick. Without waiting for a response, Sam stepped back toward the door. The shadows loomed larger as he approached. Just as he reached for the handle, he felt it, the unmistakable sensation of being watched. Sam's pulse quickened, his hand freezing mid-air. What was out there? Sam. Maria's voice cut through the tension, pulling him back to reality. Are you okay? Yeah, just checking, he replied, forcing a casualness he didn't feel. He pushed open the door and stepped outside. The air hit him like a cold bucket of water, sharp and invigorating. Peering into the darkness, he squinted. Nothing but a stretch of empty space greeted him. For a moment, he thought he could see something, a fleeting movement. Just a trick of the light? A rustle came from behind the dumpster nearby, and his entire body tensed. He hesitated, breathing through the instinctive urge to retreat. Who's there? He called out, voice steady despite the tightening in his throat. Silence. Then the rustle grew louder, and a small cat darted into view, mewling as it skittishly weaved around piles of refuse. Relief washed over him, laughter almost bubbling up. Really? A cat? He murmured to himself, shaking his head. He was losing it. Yet, when Sam turned back toward the entrance, a chilling thought gripped him like vice. The shadows might just be distractions or something worse. Could it be that whatever lurked outside had come looking for more than just chaos? He strode back to the vibrant sanctuary where laughter and creativity soared. All good, he announced, dismissing the tension that followed him inside. Maria looked up, brow furrowed slightly. "Just a cat," he said quickly, hoping to mend the unease that flickered between them. Yet the weight didn't lift entirely. "Okay, just a cat," Maria echoed, but her eyes narrowed, skeptically assessing the darkness lingering outside. With determined energy, they all returned to their collages. But Sam felt different, the thrill of creativity muddled by an awareness of something creeping closer to their safe space. As they pieced together the collage, Jace untangled a memory. "You know, when I first came here, I didn't think I'd belong. But now it's like I can breathe." Sam's heart softened. "See? That's what we need. Feelings like that matter." But just as he believed they had overcome the night, the lights flickered ominously, and the laughter interrupted. Was hope dimming like the electricity? Everyone froze, glancing uneasily around the room. Sam's stomach dropped. They weren't alone anymore. What was waiting for them in the creeping darkness? And might it break the fragile bonds they were nurturing? Sam's heart raced as the lights flickered again, this time plunging them into near darkness. A shiver snaked down his spine, tightening the grip on his pencil. The laughter that once filled the room had dissolved, replaced by a heavy silence that seemed to swirl ominously. "What was that?" Jace whispered, his voice barely breaking the stillness. "Maybe it's just a power surge," Maria suggested, but her tone was uncertain, and the tremor in her voice betrayed her bravado. Sam swallowed hard, trying to maintain a calm exterior. "Yeah, that could be it. Let's just keep working on the collage," he said. But even he didn't believe his own words. The kids stared at him, eyes wide and reflecting both fear and trust. Sam took a deep breath, forcing a smile that wobbled on his lips. They were relying on him. He couldn't show them fear. "Why don't we put our pictures of the things we love closest to the center?" he proposed, desperate to redirect their attention. "That'll make it brighter." Elijah's fingers danced across the paper, scribbling a joyful character that looked like a superhero. "And my dog. I'll draw him next," he exclaimed, enthusiasm bubbling to the surface again. Jace joined in with a sudden burst, adding a big, lopsided sun shining above his little figures. "Look, Sam. It's the sun that never goes away." For a fleeting moment, hope flickered back into the room. Sam chuckled, nodding at Jace's drawing. "That's perfect. We need some sunshine in here for sure." But just as they lost themselves in their art, the lights flickered violently again, this time dropping into total darkness. A sharp gasp escaped Maria, and Elijah's crayon clattered to the floor. "Sam." Maria's voice was high, edged with panic. "What's going on? I don't like this." "We'll be all right. Just stay close," he replied, his voice steadier than he felt. He fumbled in his pocket for his phone, pulling it out and using the flashlight to break the shadows. The beam cut through the black, creating a small circle of safety around them. As he scanned the room, the unfamiliar felt suffocating. The walls seemed to close in, the vibrant colors of art now muted under the oppressive weight of fear. But, just then, he caught a glimpse of something movement outside the window. "Stay here," he said, but before he could determine what it was, a crash erupted from the back of the building, sending a jolt through his entire body. "Sam!" Jace cried out, panic radiating off him like a storm. "I'll be right back. I promise." Sam called over his shoulder, urgency pulling him toward the sound. He needed to protect those kids, to shield their joyful world from whatever was threatening it. He stepped cautiously towards the door, the light of his phone illuminating the way. Each creak of the floorboards echoed loudly in the silence, and he felt the weight of every child's trust behind him as he reached for the door. A deep growl emerged from the darkness beyond. Time froze, the air thickening. Sam hesitated, heart racing. What was out there? "I just need to check," he whispered to himself, but the roots of doubt gripped him tightly as the growl echoed again, sending chills through his bones. In that suspended moment, everything felt at stake. As the sound grew closer, Sam's instincts screamed at him to run, but he knew he couldn't abandon his friends. He quickly glanced back at the collage, at the bright colors of hope and belonging that they had created together. Those images anchored him, They meant everything, with determination surging through him. He pushed the door open. What awaited him beyond the threshold? Could he muster the courage to confront the shadow creeping into their sanctuary? Sam stepped out into the darkness, the cold air biting at his skin. The hallway felt endless, each shadow twisting into something more frightening. The growl reverberated through the quiet, a primal sound that sent shivers down his spine. He forced himself to breathe steadily, focusing on the light from his phone. He could almost hear his heartbeat, thumping loudly in his ears. Just a noise, he muttered softly, as if trying to convince himself that it was just the wind or a stray animal. But deep down, he knew this was different. The crashing sound came again, a deafening thud that made him jump. It came from the back door, the door that led outside. Sam squelched his instinct to run back to the kids, knowing if he didn't check, he'd only spiral into paranoia. He moved cautiously, his feet shuffling over the cold tiles, feeling more like a detective in a mystery than a teacher in a classroom. Flicking the phone's flashlight across the walls, he tried to focus on anything but the growing dread. "Whatever you are, just show yourself," he whispered fiercely, the darkness swallowing his words. Then, there it was again. A snarl, low and animalistic, cut through the silence. Sam's pulse raced, pouring adrenaline into his veins. He gripped the phone tighter, eyes wide with a mix of bravery and fear. Reaching the back door, he paused, the phone's light revealing nothing but shadows. He could see the door was slightly ajar, swaying gently in the breeze. Somehow, that scared him more than the growling. "Sam!" Jace's voice floated down the hall, urging and desperate. The thought of leaving them made his heart twist. Bravery surged anew within him. He pushed the door open wider, peering into the dark beyond. "Is anyone there?" he called, his voice steadier than he felt. Silence, thick and suffocating, responded. The growl diminished, replaced by a rustling sound with something moving out there. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the dark, lit by the beam of his flashlight. Sam's breath hitched. The silhouette was small, crouching, its body trembling. "Are you okay?" he called out softly, inching closer, the light revealing a scruffy dog, dirty and scared, with matted fur and wide, wild eyes. Relief washed over him, mixing with concern as the pup flinched at the sudden light. "Oh man," Sam breathed out, a mix of laughter and relief bubbling up. "You scared me." The dog looked up, its tail flicking tentatively as it sniffed the air. Sam crouched down, heart swelling with empathy. "Hey buddy. It's all right," he cooed, extending a hand. "I want to hurt you." The dog hesitated but then took a cautious step closer, a whimper escaping its throat. Sam's chest ached with the rawness of the moment. He could see the fear and loneliness in the dog's eyes. It reminded him of the kids, feeling vulnerable and trapped. Behind him, he heard the soft padding of footsteps. Jace had crept closer, curiosity overtaking his fear. "What is it, Sam?" he whispered, peering around Sam's frame. "It's just a dog," Sam replied, his voice soothing. "He's scared. Like us." In that moment, as the two boys connected with a creature lost in the shadows, a new understanding blossomed. They were all fighting something. This unexpected encounter reminded Sam of the light they created together, the collage. Their hopes, their joys. "Maybe we can help him?" Jace suggested, his innocent enthusiasm shining through the scene's gravity. "Absolutely." Together, Sam affirmed. He could feel the fear subsiding, hope blooming anew. But just then, distant noises echoed beyond the door, and a chill ran through him once more. Wait, Sam's gaze shifted to the shadows again. What else is out there? His heart pounded. Could the darkness hold more than just fear? As a new sound crackled again, a spark of uncertainty ignited within him. What had they invited into their world? Sam stood at the threshold, gripping his phone tightly as the tension in the air thickened. The frightened dog was just a tender reminder of all that needed protection within this vibrant community. He was about to turn back and reassure Maria and the others when a distant crash shattered the night once more, echoing ominously from somewhere deeper in the shadows. "Stay here, Jace," he urged, his voice barely a whisper, battling the rising anxiety in his chest. "I'll check it out." Jace's brow furrowed with concern. But he nodded, words caught in his throat. The dog whimpered beside Sam, responding to the boy's unease, and for a moment, they both stood frozen, hearts racing in unison. Steeling himself, Sam stepped back into the dark hall. The warm glow of laughter and color faded behind him, each step taking him further from the safety and hope that radiated from the community center. Fear crept up his spine, an unwelcome sensation. Was the dog alone? Were there more lurking in the shadows? He cautiously moved toward the source of the noise, breathing in the chill of apprehension. "Hello?" he called out, his voice echoing against the walls. A flicker of movement caught his eye, and the shadows shifted. Sam's heart raced. His grip tightened around the flashlight. Just then, two more figures emerged. Sam squinted, pulling the light closer. It wasn't what he expected. It was a pair of teenagers, startled expressions on their faces. Each had backpacks slung over their shoulders, and their wide eyes darted nervously, taking in Sam's presence. "Who are you?" one of them asked, trying to sound tougher than he felt. "I'm Sam. This is a community center. What are you doing here at this hour?" Sam kept his tone firm but calm, hoping to ease the tension. We thought something was going on." The other boy stammered. Sam's pulse settled slightly. "We're just trying to do good here. It's for the kids. Can you help, or do you need help?" The boys exchanged glances, uncertainty flickering between them. "We heard some noise and came to check it out," the first said. "Finally. And we thought it'd be a good idea to be here, maybe help out. Like, be part of the community." It was a simple admission, but it struck a chord deep within Sam. Here were two young souls, searching for a sense of belonging, just like Maria and Jace had. "We can definitely use your help. There's a lot to do, and it seems like you already care," Sam replied, speaking honestly. As if on cue. The timid dog nudged against Sam's leg, letting out a small whimper. The boys looked down, eyes softening at the sight. "Wow, he's a mess. What happened?" the second boy murmured. "He's scared and alone. Just like some of us, I guess," Sam replied, realizing the subtle connection forming. "Can you help me find him some food? There's a whole crew of kids back in the center. We need to get involved. They can help too." With a shared knowing nod, the teenagers moved quickly to help. The threat that had loomed in the shadows began to feel lighter. Maybe this was the very moment that Sam needed to push forward, melding the community's strength together, rather than living in isolation behind his wealth. Moments later, they returned, grabbing a few snacks from the back of the center. Laughter and conversations resumed as curious kids playfully peeked outside to see what was unfolding. Sam guided everyone into helping the scruffy pup, and with every reassuring pat and gentle word, their little group became a refuge filled with kindness, creativity, and warmth. The fear that had once ensnared Sam lessened. "Look at you guys. Everyone here deserves a home, and so does this little guy. Let us make sure he has one tonight," he called out. Tears of joy filled his eyes, seeing how swiftly teamwork built bridges where fear once existed. Laughter blossomed again, and smiles returned to every face as the atmosphere transformed. The boy named Jace shared a story about how he had once felt lost, but now felt home here. Just when it seemed that everything would mirror the vibrant childhood that this center could foster, a loud bang echoed again from the entrance, causing everyone to pause mid-laughter. Sam shot a glance towards the front doors, his heart racing. What now? But this time, instead of dread, a fierce determination welled inside him. Whatever awaited them, they faced together. We built this space for hope. Whatever or whoever is out there, I bet we can take it on. He stepped forward confidently, looking back to the kids who had rallied around him. United in spirit, Sam's voice rang clear, fueled by the trust he had slowly earned among them. Together we face whatever challenges come our way. I won falter, and I know you all won either. Let us shine brighter than the darkness. In that moment, as shadows loomed and uncertainty continued to play in the periphery, they didn't retreat. No, they moved forward. Kids, teens, a scruffy dog, and a renewed Sam ready to take on whatever came next as he stepped confidently into the heart of the unknown. He understood that this closer connection to the community was the very transformation he sought. Hope fueled his spirit, illuminating every dark corner, proving it was indeed possible to reclaim what truly mattered. This was the beginning anew. And with that, a voice inside him rose, urging him to take action not as a billionaire benefactor, but as a genuine friend who understood the power of hope and community. In that critical moment, everything they built together sparkled with truth and resilience. Now, Sam knew it was time for true unity and change. He was ready. Hit that subscribe button now to stay tuned for the rest of our inspiring journey. Like this video to help spread the word about change. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this transformation, and share this with at least 5 friends who must see what hope can truly do. Don't wait not even one more second. Let us create a wave of positive change. Together,